Detail index, the BattleAxe V200 Slepnir, by Beowulf Big Blocks. This is another car for the novel Fire and Ice. Obviously, this is pretty much the same car, sort of, at least in base model, as the Sport Sharpened variant. Of course, there are various differences to the cars which make them more unique. However, they're outwardly appearing the same. So, as usual, the Beowulf Big Block cars tend to follow the orc logic, and the orc logic behind this one is black is tough. This, the Slepnir variant, and I seriously hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong, is your off-road variant of this car. It's not really off-road so much as it's just kind of off-road, but there's your Beowulf Big Blocks dragon logo. Some kind of hard rockish music playing in the background. Wonder how it figures out which music to play. The tires are a bit beefier on this one, obviously. And of course, the suspension and material setup is pretty much the exact same. It's not going to be different until you get to about here and here with the engine and the actual trim. Otherwise, this is all pretty much going to be the same. So, you have in front your McPherson struts, which for some reason do decent off-road compared to your double wishbones. They also handle load a bit better. So there's your bottom arm and your upper for your McPherson struts. There is a big difference here, and that is probably noticed this right here, this extra link. That's not a link, that's an axle. The car is all-wheel drive, which is something that you can change on this portion from car to car. It's over here, which I'll show you in a minute. It's monocoque as usual. The back is again multi-link, which kind of has a surprising off-road. I figured this wouldn't be off-road at all, but it handles off-road okay. I know it handles on-road very well, which is very nice. Again, the material is AHS steel, aluminum for the panel material, monocoque chassis. And over here we can see that it has actually been switched to all-wheel drive. If you haven't seen the Longboat V200 yet, then when you see it, you'll start to see what some of this stuff does and some of this stuff does. But until then, this is the change compared to the Sport version, which is rear-wheel drive. Going over this engine again, the engine used in this car is a massive 350 cubic inch V8, V configuration, 8 cylinders, ALSI, again 350, a single overhead cam, which there's your overhead cam. It functions with 4 valves, which is the maximum it'll take. There's no variable valve lift. We have forged steel as your crank because it puts out a fair amount of power. Your I-beam steel, which also would allow for a fair amount of power, and lightweight forged. These materials were selected based on cost as well as power ratios, allowing for exactly what I needed, with, of course, the benefit of not costing too much. Of course, those are all fairly expensive anyways. About medium quality. and it is at maximum capacity, a 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, which is a little low, a 49 cam profile, no variable valve lift again, no variable valve timing. This is your style and aesthetic, your color, which is yellow, because again, following orc logic with the Beowulf Big Blocks, yellow makes bigger explosions. And in an engine, if you can make a bigger explosion in the combustion chamber, you can theoretically put out more power. It's about medium quality. It is naturally aspirated, no forced induction, so no turbocharger, nothing. We have an injection fuel system with multi-port EFI, which offers a lot of power, but not and a fair amount of complexity, but not too much compared to like direct injection. The configuration is single as far as the throttle body goes. Standard intake, regular pump gasoline at 86.5 octane, a very low fuel mixture, which allows for better economy, but this car doesn't get very good economy, I'm pretty sure. The valve timing is rated at 66, which makes a bit of power, little economy, and not the biggest amount of octane, but it's still there. 6,000 RPM is the limit of this car. It's got plus 10 quality to allow for some extra stuffs, which kind of makes the engine a little more expensive. Tubular headers, which are right here. Those are headers. Again, dual exhaust, because everything Beowulf Big Block is not only big and excessive, but has to show off that it's big and excessive by virtue of the fact that it has one exhaust pipe per 4 cylinders, which is, again, dual, allows for more airflow. We may be able to... No, we couldn't get away with single. Not with this much power. No bypass valves. We have a 2.2 inch diameter exhaust pipe, a high-flow 3-way catalytic converter, straight through and straight through mufflers, which offer a little bit of noise dampening, but mostly airflow. No quality adjustment here, about in the middle. And as per usual, I do have to rev the engine a little bit, because if I don't, then you only view one car, you'll miss it. So I'll rev the engine before I give you a little bit more stuff. Okay. I may or may not have shown off the logo, but I'll do this real quick first. That's odd. It's not taking up more space. The engine makes 385 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 378 foot-pound torque at 3,800 RPM. The red line is again 6,000 RPM. Throttle response is mediocre. The loudness is mediocre. Well, it's decent. Well, it's okay. The smoothness is decent. The reliability is good. The weight is 410 pounds. The cooling is met. The service costs are $15.59, so about $15.60. And it's 20%. It's 21% economic, approximately, and it costs about $32,000. So, going here, let me show you that logo real quick, because that's kind of important for each of these car companies. Frick! Oh, I did show you this. Okay, because I remember that now. So there's the dragon, because the because the dragon was ultimately the undoing of the hero Beowulf in Norse mythology, as Beowulf Big Blocks are Viking-themed cars with the idea of we don't give a frick, we'll do whatever the heck we want. And these cars are not bad. I would totally buy one if they exist in real life. So, anyways, on with the details. With the rally variants, Slepnir, we have a manual transmission, because that's kind of important in your for control when you're doing off-road stuff, and it's a little bit sporty. Single clutch, because that's your only option. Oh hey, and it does tag off-road. Cool. 6 gear ratios this time for a little bit more versatility and shifting, but not 7 because that's a little much. Top speed is 150 miles an hour. Spacing doesn't matter to you guys. A manual locker, mainly because instead of putting some sort of limited slip differential, if you put the manual, it's better at off-road. And this was exactly what I was trying to get at. The power distribution, because it's all-wheel drive, is even across both the front and rear of the car, though I could make it more rear-oriented, which would increase its acceleration right about here. Average quality. We have chunky off-road tires, because chunky off-road tires do make a difference. They make it beefier. In the back we have 215mm, and in the front we have 175, 15-inch rims, alloy rims, and then the standard 5-spoke thick Beowulf Big Block rims. Average quality. Our brakes are all vented discs at 2-piston, and these are actually smaller by about 5mm than the typical Beowulf Big Block, mainly because by doing this, at least they're different than all the other BattleAxe V200s. This decreases the weight a little bit, and it also would fit better inside the wheel. Both discs are the same. Average quality. The aerodynamics are at their max. The airflow, again, is met. We have an off-road skid tray, which I don't know if it's visible, really. Anyways. So that's that. Let's look at the back of the car this time. It's an angry-looking car. So again, we have the 5-seat configuration, and the 5-seat configuration puts 2 bucket seats in the front, and then 1 bench seat in the back, accommodating 3 total seats. The interior is standard, average quality, standard infotainment, and because this is supposed to be good for off-roading, we have power steering, anti-lock brakes, traction control, and electronic stability. Considering we have a little bit under, a fair amount under 400 horsepower. The quality is average on those. We have standard O's for the safety, and that's bumped up a couple points, about 5. We have active comfort springs, mainly because they offer a little bit of extra. They offer a little bit extra off-road capability. We have adaptive dampeners. Because this doesn't matter for your this doesn't actually matter for your off-roading capabilities, but they're a little bit cheaper than your semi-active, and they're better than your gas monotube and twin tube. We have no other option than the passive sway bars. I believe this is an off-road setup. There's no quality adjustment here. So let's go ahead and pan back around. So our drivability rates in at fair. Our sportiness is low. Our comfort is mediocre. Our prestige is also mediocre. Our safety is decent. Our total cost is $12,500. Our practicality is pretty good. Utility very low. Our off-road is decent. Our average reliability is pretty good. I think that's higher than what I usually get. The weight is almost 4,000 pounds. The economy is 15.2 miles per gallon. The top speed again is 150 miles an hour. Its speed in its time in the quarter mile is 13.2 seconds at 107 miles an hour. The standing kilometer allows it 24.3 seconds at 137 miles an hour, which are all straight lines in that amount of distance. Get from 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. And its cornering is below 0.8 Gs, regardless of which direction you are going. I'll show what speed. And the max roll angle is 2.54 degrees. So let's go ahead and run this around the track for y'all's amusement. And of course, as usual, I will be narrating all of the, or not all of them, but as much of the action as I can, mainly for reference. Wow, that gets up to speed pretty quickly. So it drops pretty quickly too. It's not pulling a lot of G's in any direction at the moment, but I'm waiting for it to slam on those brakes. So again, not a lot of G's. You really can't get the best acceleration out of this. Wow, I think that's probably our highest there yet. It stops like mad, pulling over 1 G in the forward direction when the car stops. There it is again. There it is, pulling about 1 G because, it can. So there's our straightaway. Let's see how fast we can get this thing going. We're in final gear. 6th gear, and almost. We'll make it to 240. Nope. And did not make it to our top speed. Won't do it here either. Man, that forward momentum compared to everything else is just, or that forward G-force is much higher than everything else in the car. Full throttle down the straight. I'm curious to see how it handles that curve. Probably terribly. So, very hard right, and very hard left, never exceeding 7 Gs. I should probably put a different engine in this, but don't have one. Well, I do, but none to put in this. So full forward force, and then not quite a G in the side direction. This curve should be interesting. Not much. And of course, across the line. Alright, this has been the BattleAxe V200 Slepnir by Beowulf Big Blocks for the novel Fire and Ice, written by a few friends of mine. I'm currently indexing and creating all the cars in the novel. If you're interested to see more cars, they are coming. If not, then never mind. And thank you for your time.